Hey, book boos and bays. All right, I'm going to jump in because I'm pressed for time, but I had to get this out. I'm going to do a book review on Burning Down a Master's House. Child, not that I ain't even 100% confident on the title. Listen, when I tell you I dove into this thing, anyway, um, you see it up there. So, with that, I just want to point out how, as of late being like the past maybe 8 to 10 years or so, that people have been walking around with t-shirts and making messages of like, I, my ancestors, I throw hands, or don't try that with me now, and blah 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 blah, as if my people were not out here handling their business way back when. Like, we've been revolutionary, right? We've been pushing back and fighting against this system of white supremacy here in the United States of America. Okay, we ain't new to this. Our bloodline been true to this. So I don't know where that message got misconveyed, construed, and all the other things. It's just twisted, because that ain't what it is. And I appreciate the book starts off with referencing that fool Ye and all his nonsense around it. But anyway, that's disrespectful, and I'm not a believer in any of that. So with that, this book here was chock full of my ancestors that I've always known didn't have no bitch in them. Okay. Do you know how much strength it takes to survive a genocide? Because don't get it twisted, we are still living in a genocide since our ancestors finished building the financial and architectural foundation of this nation. They've been trying to kill us off. They good. They didn't need us anymore, right? We had done the bulk of the labor, and we're no longer of service to them, especially once we got to talking about our rights and freedoms and liberation and all the things that they didn't think we deserved anyway. So I'm sitting here like, I don't get it. I don't get where y'all coming from with this whole, they were soft and they just chose to stay enslaved, like there weren't constantly revolts. And I know most of us have heard about Nat Turner and what have you, but there was a whole lot more going on, because what's interesting about this book is that it's actually based on actual historical events. It is still historical fiction, but it is based on actual events. So we want to keep that in mind. And we also want to make sure that we are being mindful that we're talking about where life began. Like these Black people, whether from the continent of Africa or what have you, by the time they get to America, that lineage is still there. And we are the first people to be created, right? So that in and of itself says, if God says man is created in his image, her image, because I think God is a woman, that's a whole other conversation coming at some point, because women are who bring life physically into the world. And so if we created in God's image, who's physically bringing life into the world? I digress. Okay, so anyway, so this book talks about different uprisings that have happened across a few plantations, and each chapter is its own uprising. And so I really like that format. But then there are ways in which some things are woven together too throughout the book. So that's really important to be mindful of. This book is very well written and rich in details. Clay did his thing with this one. I like this writing style. So basically, it's the story of these masters realizing too late that they were too confident that fear of torture and or death was enough to keep people in line. And I have to say, I truly enjoy reading about how they got the better of these masters and these blood-soaked lands as these structures were burned down to the ground. I really enjoyed that. That was a great deal of pleasure. So thank you for that, Black Joy, Mr. Arthur Mann. Also, it's a reminder in this book that all skin folk ain't never been kinfolk. Right now, I'm gonna say that all skin folk ain't ever been kinfolk, and I'm gonna leave that there because I don't want to give any real spoilers or what have you. But then I was sitting here thinking, like, so what we doing in the year of our Lord 2026? What are we actually out here doing? So the question I have is, do we really want a revolution, right? Come on, Kirk Franklin. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But anyway, I think the time is now for us as a people to unite and show the bravery that our ancestors displayed. Now, I'm not saying we got to go out here and burn things down or whatever, but I do think we need to figure out, are we willing to die in the name of freedom? Like, what all are we really willing to sacrifice? Because I think there can be some truth when folks say they are not their ancestors. I think many of us, that's a true statement, because we are in some ways too comfortable and complacent. And our ancestors were neither. They never got to enjoy comfort, and they didn't have the luxury of becoming complacent, right? And so that is the question that I have. But this book, man, woo, I read a lot of historical fiction, and this is, I am certain already in February, having read this last month, that this is going to be in my top 10 of 2026, and I'm grateful for that. Starting out strong, because I also just read a week or two before this Yellow Wife, so another historical fiction that deals with those ancestors who were enslaved and what went down on the plantations and what have you. So anyway, what we're going to do with this comfort and this complacency that a lot of us are enjoying, but at the same time don't yet have access to experiences of real liberation. And so that's the question that I have. But really quickly, as I was thinking about this book review and I was preparing to upload it, I really want to also think about how actively engaged in the revolts the women, enslaved women were. They were not mere accessories or ornaments or anything of that nature. They were actually making it happen, getting it done. And so I do appreciate the author for recognizing the women in particular. And I say that because not only were enslaved women doing the work, in the field, in the house, and all these things, but literally their wombs were being used to create more wealth and more enslaved people, whether they were forced to be impregnated by other enslaved individuals or the masters themselves, right? And so that's a lot to really think about and sit with. Also, the way that the women's bodies were being used during this time period as well. So I just wanted to add that as well, that I did appreciate for sure how strong and powerful and determined the women were portrayed in this story as well. You know what? Don't pay me no never mind, honey. I'm just thinking out loud. At the end of the day, this is a 10 out of 10. This is a 100 out of 10. Highly recommend. And I'm looking for the next one. So, you know me, I will put an author to work around here. And yes, this is my Tabitha Brown book, My Business, because I have a couple notes because I'm studious like that. I don't want to forget what I meant to say, be trying to go off the riff. No. And Auntie is of a certain age where one should not trust their memory in a way that they may have done so previously. So with that, I bid you adieu. Stay fly, stay informed, and stay safe out there.